How's it going, Reef Builders? Jake Adams here, and boy does it feel good to be home for more than a few hours. And what a whirlwind weekend I had at Reefapalooza in Orlando. I got home just a few days before Reefapalooza after being in Australia and Papua New Guinea for 5 weeks. So man, I was fighting the jet lag the entire time. And I managed to squeeze out a video on Friday and Saturday, but Sunday I totally ran out of steam and mental bandwidth, and decided it'd be better to take a few days off to produce a better video than to rush one out just for time's sake. So I want to say a very sincere thank you to everyone who's been supporting the channel. When I wanted to go out and hang out with my reefer friends on Friday night and on Saturday night, but I didn't. I went straight to my room, ordered room service, and cranked out the videos. It was very rewarding when people came up to me at Reefapalooza just telling me how much they've enjoyed the channel, and also that they saw the previous night's video with all the preview and information of products and livestock to look out for. So thanks to everybody for tuning in, and without further ado, here's day 2 of Reefapalooza Orlando. So after thoroughly inspecting the show, checking out all the different products at Reefapalooza, and covering a few of the new ones, I had to revisit several of the booths just to see what I wanted to share with you today. And also, since I'd been out of the loop for a few weeks in other countries, diving and whatnot, I knew that I was low on some aquarium products myself, so I definitely took this opportunity to do a little bit of personal shopping and generally resynchronizing with the American reef scene. There's always so much to see at the major reef aquarium events like Reefapalooza Orlando that on day 2 I really took my time perusing all the different booths, revisiting some of the ones I had already seen, making sure I hadn't missed anything, and then spending a little bit of extra time with some of the newest gear that we can look forward to here in the upcoming year for our reef aquariums. So the first thing I want to show you is this new prototype macroalgae chetomorpha reactor from IceCap. I was surprised as anyone to see even one company come out with their own chetomorpha reactor, but it turns out this concept has become so popular that a lot of manufacturers are jumping on board, and hopefully we'll see IceCaps in the future. Next up is an interesting refugium light from Zetlight. This particular light is about 20-ish or so watts. It's passively cooled, but it also has integration with a Wi-Fi module that gives you fine grain control. In my day 1 video, I showed you the new Focustronic 1 LED, but on day 2, I got a much better look at the underside. And you can see a pretty classic cluster of LEDs, multiple colors that each have their own lens, and they're underneath a nice waffled layer, a diffuser layer, so hopefully we'll get some pretty good light distribution from this lens cluster. By far, one of the most exciting products of Reefapalooza is the brand new Recurve LED from MaxSpect. Making its world debut here in Orlando. This is an exciting, true worthy successor to the MaxSpect Razor LED. This is a fixture that I really enjoyed using on my home aquarium, and the Recurve includes much better controls, but best of all, it's got these side wings, basically a strip of LEDs on the edge of basically the heatsink, and these can curve inward to adjust the intensity of light inside the tank, but really gives you fine-grained control over the light field of the aquarium. So really interesting new feature in the Recurve LED, and can't wait to learn more about the MaxSpect fixture in the future. I'm not the biggest proponent of biopellets myself, but I am a big fan of creative media and biopellet reactor designs. This cute little hang-on model from Macro Aqua was in the Ming Trading booth, and I really love the U-shaped bottom because it's easy to see how this will cycle and turn over some biopellets, and I just really love the look and feel of this particular biopellet reactor. One of the biggest surprises at Reefapalooza Orlando is this gorgeous all-in-one aquarium from ProClear Aquatics. This thing has everything but the kitchen sink, basically everything but the pump. but it's got a really thoughtful integrated LED light fixture with a kind of a swanky digital control system built right into the canopy. It's high clarity glass, and the whole thing is supported by an aluminum framed stand. So there's an aluminum skeleton basically that holds the sump, and the doors themselves are actually made of, I think it was an acrylic and glass lamination. And this thing also includes the sump, and everything all together was like $1,450, so really a great deal. Last but not least, I took a minute to revisit the Cobalt Aquatics Sea Ray 200 LED. I first got a look at this in Orlando at Global Pet Expo, but yeah, it was really cool to see this light again. It's still on track for shipping this year. I think it's going to be like $8.99, but it has a lot of really cool features. You'll notice there's like 3 separate clusters of LEDs that are all Wi-Fi controllable with a smartphone application, and just a really novel form factor, really good to look at. It has some onboard controls right there on the edge. But yeah, just really curious how this is going to play out on reef tanks in the future, because Cobalt Aquatics really has a novel design direction with the Sea Ray 200, and like all the new gear, I can't wait to try it out myself. So that was the equipment that I saw on day 2 of Reefapalooza Orlando, and you know that I scouted a bunch of really beautiful corals at this giant fruit stand of corals and coral frags. There was so many corals left over on day 2. If you didn't make it there on Saturday, there was still plenty to pick from. So I'm just going to walk through and discuss a few of the corals that really stood out to me, and point out a few of the corals that I just couldn't resist taking home for myself. As usual, there was a wide variety of different polyps and zoanthids at this show, and I'm not a big zoanthids guy, but these spellbiter zoanthids, kind of like an orange Darth Maul or an orange desert fox, really grabbed my attention. They were so neon orange that I definitely had to pick up a frag of this particular zoanthid. Another rock that was actually quite beautiful, but not necessarily up my alley, is this colony that I'm not exactly sure what they were called. But another unexpected surprise is kind of a reemergence of these snake polyps. I saw these at the beginning of the show. I don't think they were talking to too many other vendors or too many other attendees, because at the end of the show I was still able to pick up the one I want. I got this solid green one, pretty much just to contrast with my current colony of St. Patrick's Day snake polyps. One of the unexpected stars of the show was a variety of different red and rainbow colored microgoni. And it wasn't just one strain, there's a couple different styles kicking out there, and they're getting easier and easier to grow and propagate. None of these major reef aquarium shows are complete without an amazing spread of different LPS corals, especially these Australian scolies. And while there was a lot of really cool specimens, I got to see this really unique one right here. It was a master style scolie that I guess had been cut a little bit close or a little bit deep in the skeleton and had regenerated a baby bud on the bottom. So really cool to see that in person. LPS that made a strong showing were these Acanthophilia donut corals, but really it was the little known Endophilia LPS corals that made a huge debut here at Reefapalooza. There was pink ones, there was red and yellow ones, this tiny specimen here that I didn't get to see fully opened up, but then there was this whole other class of Endophilias with these tiger stripes and tiger spots. And I've seen them once here and there, but all of a sudden these corals are on people's radar, they're on the map, and people are definitely paying a lot more attention to what is possible with Endophilia corals. There was also a lot of beautiful Trachyphilias, which I'm saving for my wrap-up video, but another group of animals that was really cool to see, some amazing carpet anemones. We had that fuchsia pink one and then this green one with a really cool lime green pattern on the interior. But really the stars of the show had to be the coralomorphs. There were so many different shrooms. It wasn't until the end that I spied this really gorgeous one. This one actually looks kind of fresh, And I thought it was a Recordia at first, so I had the vendor actually spin this guy around a little bit to get a better look at it. This specimen of Rhodactis looks a little bit fresh, so I think a little bit of time under actinics and it'll be a really, really beautiful polyp. Everywhere I looked, I saw these gorgeous coralomorphs, all different colors. There's so many varieties coming up in the trade, but this was really a great time to check out a bunch of different Recordia. So I actually picked up 2 polyps like this one, and really cool to see, along with a variety of disc corals. There's these orange disc corals that bordered on red. They were so bright. Several of them were mottled in color and pattern, so I actually picked up some like this. And Pectinia are still making a showing. Here's a Raja Rampage chalice coral, and Wilsonized. There's Wilsonized everywhere. These are going to get a very prominent feature in my Reefapalooza wrap-up video coming out this Sunday. So yeah, I hope you guys are really enjoying this eye candy. There's a whole ton of stuff to see at Reefapalooza Orlando, and I'm going to do just one video where I feature the best corals of the show by groups. The end of the Reef show is not necessarily the most glamorous time. There's always a few kind of lonely fishes here just waiting to be collected and brought to the fish store, but nevertheless I did manage to scoop up a handful of frags for myself, frags and some anemones and different polyps. And you know, when I get home, the last thing I want to do after a long trip is dip my hands in the tank, but it's all really well worth it because in the rush to collect a bunch of different corals at the end, try to score some deals and really pick up some corals I can't live without, may not have actually really paid close attention to what I got. So it's really cool to inspect these at the end of the day, get a nice long rest, put the corals away, and then take a look at them. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. Look out for the wrap-up video here at the end of the week because I'm going to show you a ton of eye candy, and I will catch you guys on the next episode.